Hello everybody, it's just Aimant519 here and welcome to a Dislyte video where I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite support units in the game. Right now I'm going to be showing you guys my 3 favorite support units that I've been using a lot and some support units that I've started using that I think could easily take a spot in my top 3 and push some other people out, but I just haven't had a chance to use them a lot yet, so so in the meantime, I'm going to be background multi-farming these with some of the supports that are on the list on the team, actually. So let's get started with the first unit that I want to show, which is Chang'e. Now, a lot of early game players, I'm still like an early game player, I would say. I haven't been able to beat Chronos 10 yet. I've just been able to beat Chronos 9 without any helper units. Not consistently, but we're getting there. And APAP stage 8 I can now consistently auto if I get some good luck with Jacob. Now, she's a healer, right? And let's get right into her skill. So she deals damage on her standard skill equal to 120% of her attack with a 100% chance to reduce their AP by 15%. Very useful, right? This is definitely good, right? Do I think her skill 1 is what actually makes her good? No, but I do think this is always a nice given and could always really, maybe combined with some other lower enemy AP units or maybe another support who could increase the AP or speed of your own team. This could actually be really useful. Just a little bit of extra debuff. Now, next we have Restoration. Now, Restoration is insane. So heals a teammate equal to 15% of their max HP plus 160% of Yao Yi's attack. Each 10% of max HP lost grants an extra 10% healing. Cools down for 2 turns. So she is actually a healer support who you want to build attack for, right? So in her Resonate, I just have full attack. Just so that this could bring my characters from 1 HP just straight back to above 90% HP guaranteed on almost basically all my units. It's absolutely insane how much healing this ability can do. Now, next up we have her skill 3, which is her best but also skill, but also, at least in my opinion, but also the reason a lot of people don't like her in auto. We'll get to that. So we have, she heals all allied espers equal to 15% of the max HP plus 100% of her own attack and grants the entire team immunity for 2 turns. This is insanely good right away because AoE heals, anyone will tell you, AoE heals are just great, right? We love them. They're absolutely amazing. Plus, once again, it's dependent on her attack stat. So if you just buff the hell out of her attack stat, right? The thing is, other healing skills, right? Sure, you can put relics on them that will actually up their healing potential, but that's as far as it gets, right? Substats and all that do not actually help give them more healing. That 20% extra healing that the relics give, or I think it's 20%, that's the most you can reach. Max out their skill and give them that, and they will not be able to heal more than that. However, with her, you can use substats and relics that give attack bonus and her resonance as well to up her attack and keep buffing how much she heals, which is why I absolutely love this skill. Now, of course, next up we have her granting the entire team immunity for 2 turns. Now, if we quickly go over here and grab where is it? Just because I want to make sure that I say this right? Immunity basically means that they cannot be debuffed. Which is really useful, by the way, in a lot of events. Right? I think everyone will tell you that immunity to the whole team for 2 turns is insanely useful in a lot of endgame scenarios. However, here is where the issue comes in with her character. When you use her in auto, her AI will only use this ability when when people on the team have taken damage, and this skill is also off cooldown, or if everybody on the team has taken damage, right? The issue is you actually, in a lot of endgames, or in a lot of scenarios, you want to actually use this before people have taken damage, because sometimes them taking damage means they'll also get poisoned or stunned or diseased, which means that they can no longer get healed at all. And if you give them immunity after that's already put on them, it's not gonna do anything. If it's after they get diseased, well, even the healing part won't do it. You give them immunity after they already got a debuff, and because of the disease, the healing won't do anything to them either. So while I do love her as a character, and I do think she is still really useful in later game content, right? I do have to say that autoing stuff, especially bosses that debuff your team a lot, and especially bosses where the debuff is the main threat, she can be on auto not that useful. She could be if her AI got tweaked a little bit, maybe, but like then they would have to have the AI like try to predict, hey, can this boss debuff us? So, and then of course you also have the chance where the boss might not debuff you. It has like 2 attacks, and then you use this for the immunity, and it doesn't actually help. So yeah, unless they like fix that part of their AI, I don't think that she will be considered the best healer ever or like an end game option. But my goodness me, I will probably bring her to end game, like level 10 APAT or like a level 10 Chronos. I will probably bring her there just because I love this unit so much. Her healing is so much fun. So yeah, that's my first pick. For my second pick, we have to have the queen herself, the queen of extra thick thighs, as everybody keeps calling her. Yeah, Suya. Suya is absolutely insane. Like, as you can see, even this website scores are like S tier and all this kind of stuff. But like, Suya is insane because let's look at her skills, right? She deals damage equal to 130% of the attack to an enemy with a 70% chance of inflicting attack down for 2 turns. This is great, right? Attack down on enemy, especially with how bosses are in this game right now, because a lot of like, you know, the grindy bosses are usually like the one big boss and a few of their minions. But I've heard like in Tower and all that, you also have like scenarios where you face like a lot of just difficult enemies in a story. But like if you're farming for like relics or just any kind of miracle stage, you're usually facing one big boss at the end and maybe some small enemies on the side. Being able to drop the enemy's attack is just amazing, right? And actually it combines very well with her second skill, or third skill, but we'll get to that in a second. But next up, she has heals a teammate for 30% of their max HP. Really good. Granting them invincibility and recovery for 1 turn. If the teammate has less than 50% HP, it will grant them an additional, grants them an extra recovery buff for 1 turn. 2 recovery buffs is insane. Now, this is why it's even more insane. Invincibility for 1 turn. Now, if we go back here, invincibility, you're immune to damage. You can't get debuffed, you can't, no, you're just straight up immune to damage. You take 0 damage. Like, it's absolutely insane. If you paid attention to the gameplay on the left, you might have even noticed it a few times. That characters sometimes just take 0 damage after getting healed by, like, look at that. My character there on the front right got just healed by Suya. If she gets attacked, you'll notice that, like, there. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry, yeah. Obviously, if she gets her own turn, the debuff goes away. The buff goes away. So since she already got a turn after she got the buff went away, sadly enough. But if she wouldn't have attacked right there, she would have taken like 0 damage, which is amazing. And then of course we have her third skill. She grants attack and defense up for all allied espers for 3 turns. Now this means that she can give your entire team defense up and have a 70% chance to lower the enemy attack, which is just huge. Like you're just not taking that. Like your damage, you still take damage, but like very little damage. Especially if you bring like another healer on the team, like Chang'e, who could like just, whose sole goal is just to heal everybody as much as possible. Boom, over. You're not dying unless the boss one-shots you or takes down somebody weak and then does 2 attacks like APAP and Chronos do, which is pain. But yeah, overall, she's an amazing unit, and I know it's difficult to get her from the ripples. Trust me, I know. Even though I have 2 dupes in her, but trust me, I know it's a pain in the ass. But it's a worthy grind. It's worth the grind in my opinion. Honestly, worth the grind. I'll make another video talking about my thoughts on Ripple, because while I do think it has issues, I also think people are over-exaggerating it a bit. But we'll get to that when we get to that video. So for now, I will say she is probably my current favorite healer. Chang'e has like nostalgia for me already because she was like my favorite healer for like a long time. But she is currently my favorite healer, favorite support unit, I mean, by far. Now, next up is, I don't know if you'll see this on a lot of people's list of, like, their top favorite support units, but it will be Celine, aka Siren for me. Now, Celine is not, she's really good, right? But she isn't like, she has her moments. So let's start off with her skills. She deals damage to an enemy equal to 110% of her own attack with a 70% chance of inflicting sleep. Sleep is great, but also whack. Because the beauty of sleep is that, like, it's basically the same as a stun, except if the enemies get hit. Wait, hold on. Let me just quickly pull this up before I give you guys some misinformation, right? There we go. So, an enemy will no longer be able to do any actions until they have taken damage, right? Or, of course, it gets healed off of them with, like, removes all debuffs, some allies, or whatever. It's really good, but the issue is, like, she is good against, like, stages, like, difficult story stages. Or, like, in towers, she can be really useful, right? Not in stages like APAP or Chronos, where you're finding, or, like, Shimmers, where you're finding these, big bosses, right? But overall, I think Sleep is a very, very strong ability. Next up, we have her second skill. She removes one debuff from all allied espers and grants speed up for 2 turns. Grants an extra defense up for buff to all allied espers for 1 turn. This is insane, by the way. Speed up, so for people who don't know what speed does, here, let me just quickly show you guys. Speed, oh no, it doesn't actually show it here. Because I just want to make sure that I don't give, like, any wrong information. Alright, I'll just have to tell you guys from my experience. As you guys can see at the bottom of my gameplay screen, you see this little bar that the enemies travel across, right? To, this little bar that the enemies the characters travel across until it is their turn. Well, with speed, they actually travel across the bar faster. So even if they are, like, behind an enemy, if they outspeed them, they could still manage to get to the end of the line before the enemy does. I have had stages in hard mode story where I was just not able to beat it, no matter what I did. I brought her, and her skill 3 and the speed from her skill 2 just made it like a cakewalk. Like, I couldn't manual beat it before, and with her on the team, I could just auto it. So she can be very useful. Now, speaking of her skill 3, right here we have it. Deals damage equal to 80% of attack to all enemies and reduces their AP by 30%. Holy shit. Okay, reduces their AP by 30% with a 100% chance of inflicting sleep. You read that right. 100% chance to inflict sleep. That's just insane. 3-turn cooldown, by the way, if you max it out. 3-turn cooldown. This is also 3-turn cooldown, by the way, but you only need one upgrade on that. But, like, this, because she'll just come in, use her skill, which lowers the enemy's AP, also puts them to sleep, which, once again, in, like, you know, if you have another unit who does AoE, it kind of, like, you know, throws salt in, you know, it kind of ruins the whole plan. But, you know, if you work around it smartly, it can be really huge. And, then on top of that, she can speed and defense buff her whole team, which is just amazing. And removes 1 debuff from all allied espers, which is huge, by the way, because you have, like, that one annoying debuff. I don't remember what it's called. If you know, please leave it down in the comment section down below. That, like, enemies have given me in story mode and all that, and in, like, tower, where they, like, give you a debuff and it will, like, count down, and when the debuff is, like, at its last count, so it goes from 1 to 0, and you haven't gotten rid of it, you get, like, stunned for your turn, which is just painful, right? And she can just get rid of that, which is absolutely amazing. Overall, I absolutely adore her. I think she's great. I love using her. She will always be one of my favorite units forever and ever and ever, because she's just done so much for me in this game. Now, quickly, there are a few units on here that I do want to give some honorable mentions, but I just haven't used them enough, or I haven't obtained them yet. So first of all, Gabriel, right here. Everybody talks about Gabriel. Gabriel is absolutely amazing. I will not be going too deep into her right now. I'll just quickly go through her skills, because once again, I have not used this unit, so I cannot speak out of, like, because I can be like, oh, deals damage to equal to 140% of her attack. but I don't know what her average attack stat usually is, right? Because I don't own her. Maybe it's high, maybe it's low. People can tell me like, oh, she's a tank, so her attack stat isn't usually all that high, but still, I would usually like to know out of experience, seeing how much damage she does. So, I cannot talk about too much, plus an additional 0.45% attack per point of speed, which sounds pretty good. On her second skill, she attacks all enemies 3 times, dealing total damage of equal to 80% of her attack. Each hit has a 50% chance of inflicting defense down. Ooh, that sounds actually really good. I love defense down on enemies. That's really good. And blessed all Espers with defense up for 2 turns and deals damage to all enemies equal to 90% of attack with an added attack down debuff for 2 turns. After ascension, grants an extra immunity buff to all ally. Oh. Hey, yo, that's kind of crack, not gonna lie. I'll unlock her, by the way, by the end of the day, because double shimmer drops. Thank you, Lilith, by the way. Thank you, Lilith staff, Lilith devs. Thanks, everybody, by the way, for that double drop event. I really appreciate it. Next up, we have, like, 2 more units that I want to give, like, a bit of a shout out to. Or, like, 3 more units quickly. Next one is Chang'e. I've been using her in the gameplay, as you've seen. Basically, she's a healer with a passive ability. Her first skill deals damage to enemies equal to 120% and 100% chance of dispelling a buff from the target. I haven't really had a lot of scenarios where dispelling buffs from targets is really needed. I've had a few scenarios where it was needed, but like those are usually like story or like random stages in tower that just kicked my ass because the enemies like have like grant invincibility and then 2 attack buffs and crit up and crit damage buffs to like 2 allies, and the other 2 just AoE damage everybody and you die. So next up, heals whoever has the lowest percent of HP on the team for 10% of the max HP, dispels debuff from whichever ally has the least HP each turn. So yeah, this is just really good. This is just good. This is just a passive. This is just useful, right? This is that little bit of extra healing that you need to make up for the time that your other healers might just not do the job. I absolutely love running her in basically every, like, relic miracle stage, honestly. And her last skill dispels debuffs from all allied Espers and heals them for 30% plus 3% per dispel debuff of their max HP. Useful. If you're facing a boss who spam poisons your team, for example, this would be really huge. But this has not really ever been that big of a deal for me. But just dispels debuffs from all allied Espers. Debuffs, not a single one, just all of them. Great. Absolutely love using her. Next up, we have 2 more, which I'm going to just both open up. And then we are at the end of the video. We have Sienna, which is the second 5-star I've ever pulled. I still have not been able to properly use her yet. I will not say that this unit is extremely good either, by the way. I just simply like the few times I've had to use her. So, first skill, she deals damage to an enemy equal to 125% and grants extra 50% AP to Gaia and random ally. Which is herself, by the way. Gaia is her name. And a random ally, which is just huge, right? Extremely useful. Next, grants attack and speed up to all allied whispers for 2 turns. Pretty good, you know, speed up, attack up. And then deals damage equal to 120% of attack against all enemies. Clears their AP. Clears their AP, by the way. Clears their AP. This is why she's actually useful in, like, Point War. Just clearing, like, just make her go first and clear AP. Or make your entire team pure speed and just let 2 DPS hit the enemies and then clear the entire enemy. Dude, insanity. That plus speed up is just mental. And gains another turn. So you basically clear the enemy's AP, give your own team speed up, and just say sayonara to the whole enemy team, as long as you go first. If the target HP gets to 0% later, has a 60% chance of inflicting stun for 1 turn. I still don't understand this wording. If somebody in the comment section would want to explain to me how this works exactly, because I'm still relatively confused on that, I would highly appreciate that, because this wording still confuses the hell out of me. But I can only assume that if you clear their AP and they stay on like 0% HP, like AP, or like their AP actually reaches 0%, you have a like 60% chance to inflict stun. So I assume that there is like ways to prevent this from hitting you. And if you don't, well, then bye-bye to that. And of course, last is Dahlia. I've been building up Dahlia, and well, this is not that insane, right? She deals damage 110%, 50% chance of inflicting stun, attacks an enemy 3 times, each hit dealing 50% of attack with a 70% chance of inflicting speed down for 2 turns. If the enemy is already afflicted with speed down, inflicts them with freeze instead. Useful, like it, but that's not why we bring her. We bring her for this one. Grants 25% AP to all allied espers and critical rate up for 2 whole turns. That is amazing. Crit up is like, because the thing is, right, people have to understand, if you have additional crit up from her, right, that means that you could maybe bring relics that have less crit up but more crit damage, right? Like White Tiger here, for example, she wants crit damage, right? So she can just do a ton of damage because she can like up her own crit rate and all that. I'm pretty sure her third skill is like guaranteed crit on the next attack or something like that. So you definitely want, you know, crit damage on her. But right now I also have some crit rate build up into her so she can get crits more consistent. If I get Dahlia on the team, I can just lower that crit rate and instead bring like stuff that gives more crit damage. I'm not at that point yet where I can just willy-nilly swap out my relics because I have like one for every scenario, but later on this could definitely be very useful. So yeah, overall, that's been my video on like supports that I have used / heard / seen. And I actually really like. Now, I know there's going to be supports in here that people are like, oh my god, they are amazing, why didn't you mention them? I simply have not been able to use everybody yet. Here, hold on. I have simply just not been able to use everybody yet that is on this list. Obviously, you have like some people over here on the right side real quick. Like if I were to like quickly lower this screen right here, you can see there's some people here on the right side as well. But if there is any people on like Jacob, for example, is amazing, right? But if there's like any people on here that you're like, hey yo, they are absolutely amazing, and you should go ahead and check out what they can do on this, or like on this character can carry you on APAP. Like I love Jacob, for example. This character can carry on APAP, or look at this amazing run of people using this support to basically solo one of the stages or something like that, or just general advice on them. Feel free to tell me. Even if they are characters that I actually put on my list or mentioned in this video, if you have any tips for me on how to, like, you know, use them maybe, would still appreciate it, you know? I still have a lot to learn. Now, of course, last up I want to ask you guys, what are your guys' top 3 favorite support units in Dislyte so far that you have used? They don't have to be the best, just ones that you have personally enjoyed using. Leave it down in the comment section down below. I'll read through every single one of them. I want to thank everybody for joining on in. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like so I know I'm doing something right, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.